Hey, good people. This is Rocki with Rocki's Reality, the #1 podcast for unfiltered and unapologetic culture, entertainment, and relationships. Tap in live Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I chat with some of the dopest artists, celebrities, influencers, entrepreneurs, and more. Make sure to catch us live Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Roku. See you soon. Welcome, everyone, to Rocki's Reality. And it is, let me get this out the way because this is an important event. Happy Women's History Month. If you all are not aware, this is International Women's History Month. And it's just a month where we celebrate all the badass stuff that women have done throughout history. You all may have heard the saying that well-behaved women seldom make history. And that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, and I am proud to be one of those women who does not behave at all. So, and I am honored to have a guest with me tonight who I guess she behaves sometimes, but I know she's been breaking some barriers because she is an absolute gold digger, not a gold digger, but a goal, GOAL digger, meaning that she is someone who relentlessly pursues her goals and encourages others to do so. And I'm just so honored to have her today. In the spirit of transparency, I had another guest scheduled. However, here's the blessing in that. That guest, RAB, she received the opportunity to perform for and open for Eric Roberson tonight at Motor City Soundboard at the Motor City Casino. And so it just worked out that Alison was able to come at the last minute. So I appreciate her. But I always believe that things happen in divine order. So this was meant to be, and we'll talk a little bit more about why, because Alison has a phenomenal event coming up next week for Women's History Month that we are going to delve into. But first, I do want to introduce Alison Vaughn, an international speaker and award-winning author, focuses on professionalism, leadership, workforce development, and fashion. She is a Goldman Sachs scholar who has championed women's empowerment for decades. Her energy and positive spirit have earned her recognition, and she has graced the covers of some magazines, such as Her Vision, Purpose Driven Magazine, and Women of Excellence. She has also been featured in prestigious publications such as Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Fortune Magazine. As a graduate of Michigan State University, Vaughn was named the 2021 Entrepreneur of the Year by the Michigan Association of Female Entrepreneurs. She's done a ton of things and has many accolades, which includes, notably, she is the reigning winner of the Miss Fashion Global Pageant for Michigan. And I don't know if y'all saw the pic. If you follow Alison, you saw the pic when she was in her two-piece rocking it. Y'all know, as a curvy woman myself, I am all for women showing our curves and our beauty at all ages and stages. So I just love how Alison represents that. One of her biggest accomplishments, though, is her passion project, which has helped and blessed so many. Over almost 40,000 individuals have been blessed by Alison's project as the CEO and founder of Jackets for Jobs, which is an organization that pretty much gets people ready to work. So if you all haven't heard of Jackets for Jobs, now you know. Make sure you are following them. They are an essential part of our community because, as we know, people need to work, right? And what are one of the main things that we struggle with when we are applying for a job? What am I going to wear to that interview, right? So this is a issue and a gap that Alison solves. And I'm just so proud to be connected to her. I think we've been knowing each other. The pandemic sometimes is like a blur, but I have to remember that gap of years, right? So I want to say it's been about like 6 or 7 years that I've known Alison, because we first connected when I wrote a feature on her in Roll It Out magazine. And so we've just stayed in contact, and I'm really just so grateful to, again, be connected to her. So everyone, welcome Alison Vaughn.
Hello.
Thank you, Alison, for joining me. I'm just really grateful. As I said, I had a previous plan, but I noticed once again, it's proven to me that things always happen in divine order. So
Oh,
I'm
yes,
really grateful.
definitely.
Thank you for being available at my last minute notice.
Oh, sure. I truly believe in that as well. All things happened in divine order. And hats off and congratulations to your guest that's doing something else, because it sounds like they're doing something that they, a dream for them. So that's
Absolutely.
wonderful. And then this is just, I believe in God's timing. So this is God's timing to be here.
Right. And this is perfect because it's actually 1 week before the Smart and Sexy Day, which we'll talk about later. So I was like, okay, well, this is divine order because we had already talked about you being on Rocky's reality. And my thing is I'm someone who always supports those going after their dreams. And Ari B is a phenomenal vocalist. If you all have not heard of her, look her up. She has phenomenal vocals. And for her to be opening for Eric Roberson, who is a phenomenal artist, is just again. So her manager texted me and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I was like, "You know what? That's okay. I'm glad that this is happening for her. So we can always reschedule." So I'm all about supporting women, and I especially get excited during Women's History Month. And I did want to just take a moment to acknowledge another woman that I've known who has been a pivotal part of my life. Her name is Bobby Winning of Life Essentials podcast. And I just want to show the t-shirt from the Life Essentials podcast where she discusses mental health and stages of healing and just being a better person overall and just seeking higher expectations and aspirations for yourself. So shout out to Bobby Winning of Life Essentials podcast. And I just really get excited when I think about all the women that we are surrounded by. Like it's just when I think of the power that we have and we hold and how our connections are made. When you have the right, I always say we have whatever we need within our own network. If you need an attorney, if you need a mortician, if you need a photographer, if you need a financial advisor, we have all of that within our network. And so I love supporting Black women. And so again, Alison, thank you for coming. And so let's get started with tell me a little bit about Alison starting out. You from Detroit.
I'm from Detroit, born and raised, went to school in Detroit, graduated from Michigan State. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a women's empowerment advocate. I love my city, Detroit, and just happy to be here and just doing my ministry, which is clothing the poor.
I love it. And so when we say poor, we mean like low income, those who are for me, I'm traumatized whenever I go to the grocery store now. So I know um, it's just a struggle for people who do not have the resources allotted to them. So let's start out how you became a gold digger. And we'll lead up to Jackets for Jobs and how that all started and how that is just evolved into this really a global ministry in a sense. Even though you're based in Detroit, you all have been recognized on the Today Show. I'm trying to remember here the Today Show. You've also been on The View. So actually, you've been recognized by so many global entities. So, but let's start out with The Gold Digger, which you wrote a book called The Gold Digger.
Right. I wrote a book, Miss Gold Digger, Success is Sexy. And I actually wrote the book. It kind of stemmed from Jackets for Jobs, because what was happening, clients were coming to Jackets for Jobs, getting outfits, and we were giving them, tips, and they were going for job interviews, but they just didn't really have direction. And I said they need like a mentor. A lot of these were like generational welfare situations and women that just needed assistance, and they were going after trying to be successful in the wrong direction. And so I was like, well, I don't want you to be a gold GO LD digger. I want you to have your own goals, be self-sufficient, and do this for yourself. So you need to set some goals, GOAL, for yourself. And so that's what's prompted me to write the book, which was amazing because 6 months after I wrote the book, I had the amazing opportunity, and it was just so wonderful for me to do a book signing at the Essence festival. And that's the largest platform for African American women. And that's all about women's empowerment, the Essence Festival. So after I wrote the book, I had a platform and I did a book signing at the Essence Festival. My book has won awards. And so I'm very proud of that. So that book stemmed from the work that I do every day. It has motivational things in there. It just talks about empowering yourself, believing in yourself, setting goals, not relying on someone else. Because, you've heard that saying, God bless the child that has his own. And so that's what it's all about. Success is sexy. And I
Yes,
say,
it
what? Be a gold digger, not a gold digger.
Exactly. Because the goals are sustainable. Like you can
Yes.
only use goal for so long, but the goals, when you are working towards the goal, that is something sustainable. So out of all the accolades that you've received, and you have rubbed knobs with dignitaries, luminaries, what have been some moments that stood out to you? Because you've been in front of so many corporations that you work with, and we'll talk a little bit later. We'll show a little bit your speech you had with Comerica Bank, and you've just had so many connections with different entities throughout the city and throughout the nation. So out of all these accolades, what have been some highlights for you?
Oh my goodness. So I started Jackets for Jobs 24 years ago. I can't believe it. I'm gearing up to do the 25th anniversary. Who would have thought? Because this was never on my radar. After I graduated from Michigan State, I moved out to Los Angeles. And then I started working for United Airlines, hiring flight attendants. I was a flight attendant, then I hired flight attendants. And then I started, Jackets for Jobs and became an entrepreneur, having my own business. But that's a very good question, because God has blessed, and you'll hear me refer to God all the time, because this really is a ministry to me, and I give God credit for everything. And I'm not afraid at all to talk about, God, has blessed this.
Amen.
So that's a really good question, because we have had so many success stories and so many accolades. And I always say God is, my PR person, because God is just always shining his light and opening up doors for me. A big highlight was probably being featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show, meeting Oprah and being a guest on the Oprah Show, talking about makeovers. Another one was meeting Martha Stewart and being on the Martha Stewart, being one of her dreamers into doers, where she honors women that have a dream and turn their dream into reality. Another one would probably be getting a chance to talk to Barbara Walters and the cast of The View when I was on The View. So God has really positioned me to meet a lot of, I say, billionaires, I hate, I even have to say Donald Trump, way before he was where he is now. But
Right. Right.
but I've met a lot of people that have really opened up doors. One of my things I think that has really kind of changed the direction and a blessing for Jackets for Jobs is when we partner with TJ Maxx. That really helped, because 2000 I had been into the business 7 years. So 2000, I started in 2000, and in 2007, I received a phone call from TJ Maxx, and they said, "We like what you're doing. We love how you're empowering women, getting women back into the workforce, and we would love to come up and check you out and see about a partnership." So I said, "Okay." So then I'm saying to myself, well, TJ Maxx is headquartered in Boston area. I'm here in Detroit. There's so many charities between Boston and Detroit. How did they choose Jackets for Jobs? And so first they wouldn't tell me. And then they said, "Oh, we just heard about your organization." So they partnered with us, did a big investment with us. And come to find out, listen at this, Rocki, they heard about Jackets for Jobs through Rosa Parks, civil rights icon, Rosa Parks' niece. And so you never know who's watching you. And I didn't even know Rosa Parks' niece. So Rhea McCauley, Rosa Parks' niece, told this gentleman in Boston about Jackets for Jobs here in Detroit. And they liked what she was saying. And based on her recommendation, who she was like an angel, because I didn't even know her, they came to us. So the moral of the story, you never know who's watching you, because this woman I didn't even know her, but she was watching what we were doing in the community and put the two of us together. And then to this day, since 2007, we have a wonderful partnership with TJ Maxx, which is a global company.
I love it. And I remember at some of the celebrations that I've attended the fashion shows, and TJ Maxx has some nice stuff, some
Yes,
nice
they
items,
do.
some
They
very
really do.
high quality fashion and items. So that is outstanding. And actually, I wanted to bring up moving into, while we're talking about big corporate organizations, talk about your work with Comerica Bank, because you've been working with them for a while now, right?
So it's been a couple, it's actually just started like a couple years ago.
Okay.
So, and that's another thing. I don't know how they found me either. That's why I say I have God as my PR person, because last year, Comerica Bank, they do this big prom dress giveaway. And so they had been partnering with another organization, and they collect all these prom dresses from all the different bank locations. And then they find high school deserving girls that need a prom dress. Because as you know, going to prom can be very expensive. And so Comerica wanted to be able to help girls that could not afford a dress. And so they would collect all these dresses and then give them to girls. Well, anyway, last year, they contacted me and said, would Jackets for Jobs like to partner with us? And I said, sure. And they said, well, we're going to have all of 9 different banking centers throughout the Metro Detroit area. People can go drop off prom dresses, and then we're going to bring them to Jackets for Jobs. And then you have all the young girls from around Detroit area and the surrounding high schools come and get free dresses. And so last year, which was our first partnering and their 7th year, they exceeded their expectation. They thought they were going to raise about 1,000, bring in about 1,000 dresses or so. They did like 3,000 dresses. And so,
and just from different people, donating
across the community. Because remember, they have 9 banks, and people can just go to any bank and just, donate prom dresses. And so Comerica exceeded their expectation. And I'm so happy because we were a part of that, overabundance. And so we were able to give out hundreds of dresses. So we're doing it again this year. So for all your listeners, if they're interested in donating, go in their closet. They have that old prom dress. They have that bridesmaid dress. How many of us have been in weddings and we have that wedding dress that's in the back of the closet?
I've got 4. I've got like 3 or 4. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so they can go to any Comerica banking center and drop off that dress, or they can come to Jackets for Jobs at our East Side location and drop it off, and they will bless a young girl. And then in addition to my prom dress partnership, I was a speaker just this week with Comerica Bank since we're celebrating Women's History Month. Yes, there's a wonderful picture. And so I talked about imposter syndrome. And so that was a great partnership. I was so honored and grateful that they asked me to be a speaker, a part of their Women's History Month. And so that was out at Auburn Hills, at their bank in Auburn Hills. And it was wonderful turnout. Not only did they have people present, but they had about 100 people online viewing the conference.
I love it. I love that. So we're going to watch a quick video when you were, I guess, giving just like a rundown of your speech, like a summary of your speech. Just a quick little video here.
You feel it? You believe it? Yes. Yeah. So yes, what you have to do. So strategies for building confidence. Positive affirmations that we talked about. Replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. We talked about that. Set achievable goals. And the speaker this morning, she talked about that, about setting achievable goals. I'm on a list. I write a list every day. Things I need. So so that was just telling them about setting achievable goals, replacing those negative thoughts. We all have these negative thoughts that run through our mind, and you have to reprogram your mind, change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And that kind of goes back. See, all of this is all going back to one thing, and that goes back to the book, because I talk about that in my book, Miss Gold Digger, which you can get on Amazon. I guess my little shameless plug.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
You can get the book. You can Google. You can go to Amazon and then purchase the book. But just basically talking about having a positive attitude, surrounding yourself with positive people, and reprogramming your mind to think positive, because you have to think. You're like a magnet. Whatever you think, your thoughts are a magnet to that. So if you think positive thoughts, your mind will draw toward positivity. If you think negative thoughts, your mind is a magnet. It'll draw toward the negative things. So you want to surround yourself and your mind with positive energy.
Absolutely. And another woman I'm going to shout out is T. Elatu. She is the editor in chief of Brown Style Magazine, a publication based in Philadelphia, and she sends these daily affirmations in the email daily 6 a.m. I've come to look for those daily affirmations because what you feed your mind is how you will grow. I definitely believe that. And those of us who are gold diggers, we definitely face imposter syndrome all the time, like all the time. And there's moments where I have to say, no, you need to show up. There's a reason you are in the room. There's a reason God placed you here, and there's a purpose for you being here, and you really have to repeat that to yourself because there's so much adversity at times, and there's in this social media it's like so much things are just about flash and sensationalization, that it really is hard to sift through it at times, and you have to be intentional. You
Yeah,
really have to
you're
be intentional
so right.
about what you are feeding your mind. That's possibly that's part of why at times I don't watch the news. Like I do get headlines so I can be aware. I get alerts on my phone, but to sit and watch a news is at times it's just so depressing. So, and that's part of feeding into that negativity. You have to feed your mind positivity as far as reading and what we view. All of that absolutely matters. So, what are some things that for you? Right. And Bobby, yes, absolutely. And shout out to, first of all, let me shout out everyone who's watching: Monique, Bobby, Charlene Mitchell as well. Glad you got
Oh,
here.
hi, Charlotte. I love Charlene. Hi, Charlene.
Yeah.
I've been a guest on her show, and Charlene is just wonderful.
Yes, she is. Absolutely. I really admire her. Another woman who's done so many great Emmy Award winning, who's done so many great things. But yes, Bobby Whitaker says, especially in the morning, start with positive thoughts. Right. Absolutely. You've got to. You've
Yes,
got to.
Bobby.
Just like
I agree with Bobby. Yes, in the morning, because you want to start your day off with positive energy.
absolutely. Absolutely. That'll carry you throughout the day. And as I've explained to my daughter, when certain mishaps happen, it's just that moment. It's not the whole day. Remember,
Right.
it's not it's just the whole, it's just the moment. It's not the whole day that has been ruined. So talk a little bit about how you have shirked imposter syndrome throughout the years. What was the catalyst? And people may have heard this, but for those who don't know, what prompted you to start Jackets for Jobs?
So, I'll answer that question, and then I'll go into the imposter syndrome thing. So, I started Jackets for Jobs sort of as a mishap 24 years ago, and basically it was out of tragedy. I had a half sister. We had the same father, but different mothers. So after our father died, she went her way, I went my way. And so we hadn't seen each other for a really long time, but I wanted to, see her and see how she was doing. So I called my aunt and I said, how's Cheryl doing? I haven't seen her in like 20 years. Can you, kind of reunite us? And so she said, let me find her. She moves around a lot and, I don't keep up with her a lot. So my aunt found her. We both met at my aunt's house. We were sitting on the porch. And the first question I asked my sister, I said, Cheryl, what have you been doing for the last 20 years? And, I'm sitting in the rocking chair on the porch. And she says, I'm dying of cancer. I was like, oh my God. 6 months later, she died. So God placed us in each other's life right at the right time, because you can imagine 20 years go by, you don't see her, then you see her, and then she tells you, I'm dying of cancer. 6 months later, she dies. Well, helping with the funeral, I found out that she was on welfare. So then I said, oh my God, I want to be able to do something to help other women where they're not having to rely on government assistance, helping someone where, they have a lot of kids and, different fathers, and helping them, just kind of directing them in the right direction. So that was one of the reasons why I started it, just because I didn't want to see any other woman in the situation that my sister was in. And I wanted to be able to empower them not to have to rely on government assistance. And so the mission of the organization was to help those that were struggling, to empower them to find a job, not only to find a job, but to keep a job and put their best foot forward. And then in the midst of all of that, I was fortunate enough, even though it was a bad situation, I was working for United Airlines at the time of my sister telling me this story. And then September 11th happened, where, all the, the planes and all of that happened. So United Airlines and American Airlines were the two airlines that were hit. And so United asked the flight attendants and the pilots, since flying was just basically at a standstill, did take a leave of absence. So I was able to take a leave of absence from United and then start the nonprofit. So you have to remember, 24 years ago, the internet wasn't like it is now. So I didn't know anything about running a business or starting a business and how to be an entrepreneur. So I had to literally go to the library. So I was actually getting books. Now you can do everything on your cell phone. You don't even need to go to a library. Half the people don't even know where a library is.
Yeah, I still encourage people to go to libraries, though. I still encourage them as a bookworm. But yes,
yes. So I had to go to the library, and the two books that I got, Fundraising for Dummies and Grant Writing for Dummies. And so the dummy series really helped me, because you've heard of the dummy series, like Gardening for Dummies, Cooking for Dummies. Well, they had a series of books about nonprofits, and those books really helped me start Jackets for Jobs. So to answer your question, that's how I started it, out of a tragic situation, because my sister was on government assistance, and I didn't want to see other women like that.
All right. So tying in the imposter syndrome, did you feel some imposter syndrome as you were starting that? Because you're coming from being an airline attendant to opening a nonprofit. So right. I'm guessing that had to be some type of doubt sometimes, or unsureness, or, but you had that determination and motivation in you.
I did. But you know what? Once again, going back to everything was just God led. And so because everything was God led, I felt like I was living in my purpose. There's a saying, and this is where people get in trouble. I was staying in my lane. This is what I was meant to do. And sometimes people get jealous of other people. They get discouraged because they're looking at other people. They're looking at social media, say, oh, look at their life and all that. But I was staying in my lane, just like a horse race. I just was focused on what God had for me to do. I wasn't looking to the left or the right. And I think if you know what your purpose is and you stay in your lane, instead of wondering what somebody else is doing to the left or the right, I think you can be successful. And so, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what the phrase imposter syndrome meant until like a couple of years ago. And I told and it was so funny, let me tell you. So a couple of years ago, University of Michigan asked me to be one of their speakers for their Women on the Move, Women Starlight Candlelight Dinner at University of Michigan. Even though I'm a Spartan, I said yes to the call to go to Michigan for to be a speaker. And at the end of the presentation, there were four of us on the panel. And at the end of the presentation, they opened it up for Q&A. And one of the young ladies said, can anybody answer, have any of you experienced imposter syndrome? And I looked at her and she looked at me, and I kind of looked at her like a deer in the headlight, like, oh my God. So the panelist next to me said, oh, I'll answer the question. So she answered it. And then the young lady, the student, went back and looked at me as if, are you going to answer the question? And so I said, I ditto what she says, because I didn't know what imposter syndrome meant. So I'm driving home and I'm like, I can't believe I was on stage and I did not know what imposter syndrome meant, and I Googled it, and it says feeling like a fraud, feeling inadequate, and not believing that you should be there. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I never heard it, because I feel like I should be everywhere that I'm doing, and so I didn't know what it meant. But then the next day I looked at my social media, and I had several of the students want to connect with me and want to be my friend on LinkedIn. So that made me feel really good and they all have made comments, either inbox or openly, saying they really enjoyed my presentation. So I guess my imposter syndrome was me not knowing what it meant on stage, when I probably should have known. And I'm like, well, gee, am I worthy of being here at Michigan on stage? And so, so when Comerica Bank asked me to speak on that subject, I shared that same story with them. And I was like, well, you know what? I feel good. And I'm always grateful and appreciative of all that I've received, because basically it's thinking like, oh, I got a promotion. I shouldn't get a promotion. I don't feel worthy of it. And I've never felt like that, because everything I'm doing, I know God has prepared me for it. So if God's given it to me, I should be worthy of it. And Absolutely. So that's kind of my thing.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for that reminder, because I still struggle with that at times, where I'm like, am I supposed to be doing this? And then I'm like, wait a minute. Obviously, it's a reason why God has placed me in this position. So, but it's just like sometimes the frustrations of trying to get to that next level or that next achievement is what can get discouraging. But you have to remember, like, it's a reason why I'm here. It's a reason
Exactly.
why I'm here. So what are some lessons that Jackets for Jobs has taught you? Almost 25 years. That's a
I know.
lot. You've had celebrations, countless events, and we'll get into the Smart and Sexy Day event in a little bit. And just want to bring up a picture now of your lovely staff. By
Oh,
the
I
way,
love my staff.
if
They are
people
so
don't realize,
wonderful. Yes, and that photo I'm very proud of because that photo is from our magazine. Jackets for Jobs was featured in this just last month, February issue of our magazine for Women Who Move Detroit. And I'm really proud of that because I feel like we do move Detroit because we're part of the city of Detroit's workforce development where we're moving, people forward to get a job, not only to get a job, but to keep a job. And so these are image consultants. They're all certified and they're image consultants. They know how to dress and help our men and women put their best foot forward and look great in their outfits and build up their self-esteem. Because we all know when you look good, you feel good.
Good. Absolutely. And I just want to say to Allison's left is her mom, by the way, who I want to be like your mom. Is it Miss Henderson?
Yes,
I
Betty
want to be like
Henderson.
her
Yes.
when I grow up. Because mama
Yes.
is looking good. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yes, my
It.
mother. And she has more energy than I think everyone on this picture together. I have no idea where she gets it from. And yeah, my mom is phenomenal. She's my role model. She's my mentor. She is just my cheerleader. And she's just always been there for me. And so I hope that I can be half of the mother, like to my daughter, as my mother is to me, because she is just great. I don't know where she gets the energy because I don't have that much energy with my daughter like my mother has with me.
I love it. So, what are some things that you've learned during your journey, this 25 years or almost 25 years? We might as well say 25 years of Jackets for
Yeah,
Jobs.
right. Oh my goodness. Perseverance. Um, I guess, when you have a nonprofit organization, it's always, funding. Where am I going to get the funding to continue my mission? So, anybody that's listening that is running a nonprofit organization, we're kind of considered professional beggars because you're always asking people for money because, that's whether you work for Focus Hope or whether you work for the Salvation Army, you're always asking for donations. You're always asking for assistance. And so you have to persevere and continue to knock on doors and, cultivate those partnerships and people to understand your mission. The good thing about Jackets for Jobs, our mission is very easy to understand. People understand you have to work, you need a job. And in order to get a job, you have to look professional to go for that interview for that job. So it's an easy mission to understand. So perseverance is one of the things. And just cultivating relationships. So knowing how to network. So I try to stay out in the community. I try to network. And that's kind of hard for a lot of people. A lot of people are afraid, they go to an event and they're like, oh, I'm afraid to, say anything and open up my mouth. And yeah, there's a nice picture of the mayor. And just, some people might feel like, oh my God, he's the mayor of the city of Detroit. I don't want to approach him or what have you. But, so I've learned to network and to get out in the community. So I try to stay busy and stay out
People too. They're people too.
Right, exactly. They put on their pants one leg at a time.
Exactly. They eat, sleep, and bleed just like we do. That's what I've learned about people. And a lot of times we have more similarities than differences.
Exactly.
We have a lot more in common with them than we realize. So I wanted to we're going to come back to Jackets for Jobs, but I wanted to shift a little bit and just congratulate you again on your recent nuptials.
Oh, thank you.
That was last year, correct?
Or was yes, it was last year, and it was wonderful. So I've married a wonderful man. His name is Andre Smith. He's a professional photographer. He teaches photography. So he's just really great and very mild-mannered and laid back. And so, yes, I'm very happy. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. You absolutely look happy. It's glowing. It shows. And I absolutely love, I wish I would have brought up, you all can look on her Facebook page, but I love the picture of you all for Valentine's Day. That was like some really king and queen vibes. Okay. Really giving king and queen vibes there.
We got a lot of responses from that.
I
Yes.
love it. I
Yes.
love it. So for you, since this is Women's History Month, and we'll get into talking about the Smart and Sexy partnership, which is going into its 7th year now, who are 3 women who have impacted you, and how have they impacted you?
Oh my God, Rocky, that's a great question. I'm having fun on your show.
Yeah, that is the point. I like
I
to
love it. I
educate
love
and
it. I love it.
entertain. That is part of my ministry.
Yeah, see, that's your ministry. Yes. So, okay, so 3 people. So, one, we just talked about my mother. So that one. Another one, so you said another woman that has,
So we, of course, we know Miss Henderson is one,
yes.
and you spoke on that. So we'll make her one. So 2 more women then who have impacted you, and how have they impacted you?
Oh my goodness. Oh God,
I
that
know
is
it's
just,
so many to choose from. I started out with 5, but I was like, no, we're just gonna do 3.
yeah, okay, yeah, just do three because my mother being one. So now I have to think of 2 others. I probably would have to say, I feel like if I don't say Oprah, then people are like, well, why didn't you say Oprah since you've been a guest on her show? And so she's so worldwide and so famous. So I guess I would have to say Oprah because not many people actually get a chance to meet her or be on her show or actually
Oh.
touch her or have some sort of interaction with her. So I would have to say her, and then I would have to say another person, probably Martha Stewart, because to
Hmm.
receive that award from her as the dreamer and to doer, and to meet her and have that recognition from her, and all that she's done, I just, I really admire all that she's done. So I think that those would be the other 2 besides my mother. But I'm sure that, they don't have to necessarily be a celebrity. I mean, it could be just like, my next door neighbor that's always praying for me or just always giving
Mhm.
me a quote. So, just an everyday person. I'm not so much saying, Oprah or Martha Stewart just because they're celebrities, because I love my next door neighbor for always, being an inspiration and always being there for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? That just reminded me when you said an everyday person, and this is not a woman, but today my husband and I went to lunch at Honest John's. If anyone doesn't know, Honest John's is like a dive bar off Selden and Cass, really good food, and it's located in the Midtown area. And the waiter, my husband and I were sitting there, and the waiter comes up. He was like, "It's a great day today, right?" And we were like, "Yeah, I guess so." Yeah, he's like, "It's a great day in Detroit. The sun is shining." He was like, "And you know what? We're the richest people in the world. You know why?" And my husband and I were, of course, like, "Why?" He was like, "Because we woke up this morning." And we were just sitting there. And to be honest, like, we've been having some rough times. Life has been lifing. Adulting has been adulting lately. So we were just there contemplating our next move on some decisions we were making. And just to have him come and say that, we were like, you know what? He's right. Because life could be worse. We did wake up. We have
Mhm.
our faculties. We woke up. We're talking. We're walking. We have our sound mind. You know, we have each other. We have our children, our family. And it really helps you to sit back and think like people are not the famous ones, or the ones who are in the public eye are not always the ones who impact you the most. It's
Exactly.
those
Exactly.
everyday people that you can learn from. And I'm sure that's something that you've taken from Jackets from Jobs, from working with low income families. I'm sure you've learned some things. And so a lot of people might know and might not know, my background is in social work. I've been as a social worker for almost 25 years myself, and I've worked with at-risk and disadvantaged families for almost 25 years. And now I'm a child welfare trainer, and I teach my trainees that although you might feel because you're the social worker, you are on a pedestal, you're not. You are not the super social worker. They're people as well. And you will be surprised at what you can learn from your families and your clients. The humility, the hard work, the creativity that they bring. And so let's talk about how we are giving a maximum uplift of that at the Jackets for Jobs Smart and Sexy Day that is coming up March 14th at the Northwest Activity Center. So talk a bit about that and how you are partnering with a national lingerie brand, Smart and Sexy, to put this Women's Day celebration on.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about it because it's all about being feminine, smart, and sexy. So, Jackets for Jobs, we are a partner with the Alliance of Career Development Nonprofits. So it's like an umbrella of organizations similar to Jackets for Jobs up under one umbrella called the ACDN. And so the organization has partnered with Smart and Sexy, as you mentioned, is a national lingerie brand sold at Walmart, and I understand also at Target, but I know exclusively at Walmart. So their competition would be like Victoria's Secret, very pretty, sexy lingerie. And so it's all about brains and beauty, smart and sexy. And so for 7 years, we've been doing an event called Smart and Sexy Day. And we're going to be doing it, as you mentioned, next Thursday at Jackets for Jobs location at Northwest Activity Center. So if anyone's interested, we're just about sold out, but we do have a few openings. So they can call Jackets for Jobs tomorrow and say, I heard about your Smart and Sexy Day on the Rockies reality show, and I would like to, see if I can attend. And we'll see if we have some more spaces available. But it's a day of empowerment. We have wonderful speakers. We're going to have someone talking about finances. We're going to have someone talking about wellness, as well as someone talking about makeup. So we're going to talk about inner beauty, outer beauty, feeling good about yourself. We're going to have continental breakfast. We're going to provide lunch. And then at the end, everyone's going to get a free bra. And so we're looking forward to it. There are speakers and photos of our speakers right there. And so these are phenomenal speakers that are going to just touch on, like I said, feeling good on the inside as well as on the outside. And they all have a different perspective of women's empowerment and feeling good.
I love that. Looking forward
Yes.
to that. Looking forward to that. And so that partnership, how did you come across that partnership? How did you, and again, is this one that it seems like the partnerships have just come to you at times because you're just doing the work. And that's what I have to remember, doing the work. Just keep doing the work. So how did you connect with Smart and Sexy?
So
through the ACDN?
Yes. So, like I want your readers to really understand that no matter what you're doing, big or small, there's always somebody watching you. And I like how you mentioned these people came to Jackets for Jobs. I didn't seek them. So it was once again the Lord that put these connections together. So God put the connection together with ACDN, and then they put the connection with Smart and Sexy. And so if you go to Smart and Sexy website, smartandsexy.com, you'll see all these beautiful bras. And so I'm excited to be able to give out these bras, next week. And we've had the first Black Miss USA, the first Black Arab American come to our events. And so it's just a day of happiness, a day of empowerment, a day of networking. So we're going to put on our pretty underwear and feel good about ourselves.
I love it. And I'm like one, I don't know if this is you, but I'm one of those women who I like to match my underwear. Is that? And I am like OCD about that. Like my bra and my
panties have to match.
I don't know what that came from. It's just, I've just always, so it's always you, like you said, when you look good, you feel good. And especially for women, our bodies go through so many different changes. It really is intentional. And just also edifying our minds so that we feel as good on the inside as we look on the outside.
You should probably do a poll on that. Like, do most women want their panties and their panties and their bras to match, or does it matter? You have on some black panties and a white bra, or what? I mean, some women are very particular, just like some women are very particular about the color of their nails have to match their toes.
Yeah, I do that too most times.
And I'll be honest, I don't do that. Like now I do. I've got pink on the same pink on my nails as I have on my toes. But a lot of times, I'm like, oh, I want a different color. So I don't always match. But some people are very particular about the nails and the toes, the same polish.
Now, there will be times where you're right. Like in the wintertime, if I know I'm not wearing sandals, definitely my nails need more maintenance than my feet. I'll just get like a polish change or not. So you're right. But usually I do have the match, and I'm OCD like that. So I am impulsive and love to live in other ways, but in certain things I'm like, okay. So, but if it doesn't, it's okay. It's fine. I'm not going to, but I'm more so my bra and panties have to match.
Have to match. Yes. I get it.
Like, oh, do you like this? And he's like, okay, yeah. I like it, but he's like, I don't care. He's like, I like it better when you take it off. So,
That's
but
meant for you.
right,
Yeah,
they don't care. It's us. It's women
it's
who do
women.
that silly stuff. And
Exactly. Men do not care.
they
They're
don't
not
care.
thinking about the color. They're thinking about what's under the underwear.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly
That's
what my
we're
husband
gonna we
said.
can have a whole nother conversation on that. And
Exactly.
I'll have to come back to your show and we'll have a whole different conversation on that.
Yes, definitely we will. And I want to thank you again, Allison, again for being available. And just, this worked out perfectly. And I'm just honored to be connected to you and just be a part of the event. And I'm just again, yeah, Bobby, I know we were cutting up, Bobby, right?
And
Allison and I, Allison's a Gemini and I'm an Aries. So and we're compatible. We get to cutting up.
oh
We
my
do.
goodness, yes, yes, yes.
You're a Gemini, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you know I'm a Gemini?
You like the crazy thing is, so one thing that I've adopted from my mother is I remember people's birthdays.
Is that okay? I have a cousin like that remembers people, and I'm like, how do you remember the whole family's
I'm just,
birthday?
and thank God for social media because it reminds us. And but I am just one of those people. Hey, you're an Aries too. Hey, Bobby. But this is something from childhood. Hey, Mashiba, thanks for tapping in. This is something I remember my mom would be writing on her calendar and she would always send birthday cards to people. She's always someone who'll call you and check on you and just remember your birthday because, and especially now that we are getting more mature, birthdays are a big deal. They
Oh
are
yeah,
a
they
big
really
deal.
are. They
I mean,
really
because
are.
a lot of our family and friends are not here anymore.
That is so true.
And just really, I want to take a moment, rest in peace to Chef Max. I don't
Oh
know if you
yes,
knew
yes.
him,
Oh my goodness.
but I hate that I never got to meet him, but he obviously impacted so many people.
Yes, he
He
did.
was only 40 years old, and it really makes me think like, because in a couple weeks I'm going to be 47, and I'm not ashamed to say my age because I'm just grateful to be here because there's so many who are younger than me who are not. So it's always a blessing to connect with people such as yourself, and I want to thank you for appearing. And I'm going to wrap it up with 5 favorites, but first I want you to tell people where they can find and support the ongoing impact of Jackets for Jobs, because although we're having Smart and Sexy Day, the mission continues and we want people always need to get to work, right? So how can people support the ongoing mission and impact of Jackets for Jobs?
Oh, thank you. So, Jackets for Jobs, we have 2 locations. One is on the east side, which is 5555 Connor, inside of the Samaritan Center, 1 block down from Wayne County Community College. Then our other location is at Northwest Activity Center, which is 18100 Myers and Curtis, Northwest Activity Center. So we have something for the East Siders and something for the West Siders. Our East Side office is, we work with women only. Our West Side office, we work with men and women. And so we're in the community. You can also learn more about our organization by going to our website, jacketsforjobs.org. Or you can call our office at 313-579-9160. But go to our website. I'm also on social media. I'm more on social media than and Jackets for Jobs has a Facebook page also. So I love for people to reach out to us on Facebook or just go to our website and learn about the different things that we've got going on. And
they can follow you on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Exactly.
And also Instagram, Alison Vaughn TV.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So they can follow me all those different ways. So I would love to connect, especially I saw these Aries out there. I want some Geminis. I'm proud to be a Gemini,
Where did Geminis tap in? Because I love me some Geminis now. So are you a June Gemini?
I'm a June Gemini, yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
And my aunt her birthday is June 4th. So
and mine is the 3rd.
I'm gonna definitely remember that because it's the day before my aunt.
Yep. So she has to be a wonderful person.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. She is. I'm not going to keep talking because I'll cry. But she is my second mother, pretty much. She is. Okay. I love her dearly. She's and the Gemini spirit. It's like you always intuitively know what others need before they need it, like before they're even asking for it. Like my aunt is good at that. She'll buy me something or do something, and I'm like, I didn't even know I needed that until she did it. So and I love the tenacity that you all have as well. So again, thank you, Allison. And so, want to wrap it up. I always like to wrap it up with 5 favorites that I ask. Oh, Ron Leffer is like Pisces here. Okay, we'll let you jump in, Ron. Pisces, and it is Pisces season.
Is it
yeah,
really?
yeah, it is. It's Pisces season now, and then it'll be Aries season in a couple weeks. So,
I don't know. I don't know a lot about Pisces. I know about Aries, but I don't know much about Pisces. Okay, so
yeah.
what are your 5 things now?
Okay, so 5. Okay, so what is your favorite food?
Oh my goodness, cookies. I'm the cookie monster. I have
Oh,
such
the
a
Girl
sweet.
Scout cookies.
Yes. I love cookies. I don't know. I've always had a sweet tooth, and so all my life, some people are salt, like they can do chips. I've never been into the really chips, but I've always been into sweets, and for some reason, I love cookies. And oh my God, my daughter is a Girl Scout, and so this is Girl Scout season time, and I can eat a whole box of Girl Scout cookies. So cookies
Yep.
are one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I was munching on some Thin Mints earlier, even though they don't make us thin when we munch on them.
Exactly.
But I love Thin Mints. Here's a secret, you all: the Thin Mints out of the freezer are top notch. Okay,
Oh my gosh, so
out of the
good.
freezer.
Yes.
Okay, so cookies are your favorite food. What is your favorite place to visit in Detroit or the Metro Detroit area?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's going to be kind of hard in Detroit. Where is my favorite? Oh, I like Mexican Town. I like Mexican food and going down Southwest, and eating at the
Mhm.
Mexican food and having a margarita and some chips and salsa
Mhm.
and a burrito and
Mhm.
beans and rice. That sounds real
Mhm.
good.
So good. My husband and I love Mexican food as well. Oh, so good. Favorite movie
Hmm. Oh
or
gosh.
TV show? Favorite movie or TV show?
Okay, so my little guilty pleasure of TV shows, I was really into those reality shows like The Housewives of Atlanta, and then I stopped watching those after a while. I was like, oh, because it got a little too ratchet for me.
Mhm.
And then I didn't like, hearing other women call each other the B word. And I thought that was a
Mhm.
little degrading. And so when it first came on, I used to really like it because I wanted to see what these other women were doing and the lifestyles that they were living. And then I realized and talked to people that half the stuff they rent, they don't drive those cars, they rent those houses and
Mhm.
calling each other bad words. So I didn't really like that. So that used to be it. I really watch a lot of the news. And when you were mentioning about stop watching the news, I did like you. I stopped watching it because I didn't want to feed my brain all this, death and murders and all that, things of that nature. So I try to watch like the cooking shows and things of that
Mm.
nature. Or my dream lottery house. I watch a lot of different little
Mm.
reality things. I was like, okay, one day I'm going to be on that my dream lottery house. I'm gonna get a scratch off and win the lottery and be on
Is
that.
that on HGTV? Is that one of?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Love it. Okay. Love it.
So
Love
I
it.
just watch, little reality things, but I don't have like one set show. I kind of channel surf and just see what's on.
Okay. Okay. What about your favorite accessory?
Oh, probably my wedding ring. My favorite, that and my smile. I always tell people, when it comes to dressing, your best accessory is a smile.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so and then because I'm home and I don't have on my jewelry now, otherwise I would flash my ring, but that's my best accessory, my wedding ring.
I love it. And you know what? I love that you said that about smiles because that a lot of times some people that's all they need is a smile. I can
Exactly.
tell I'll catch eyes with people and I'll try to give them a smile. And this guy just a couple weeks ago, he was like, "You have a really nice smile. Thank you." He was like, "I needed that in my day." And it's just like you never know how that
Right.
might help someone's day. Okay. Last favorite travel destination.
Oh, now that's going to be hard because remember I used to work for the airline. And remember I used to
That's
be a
why
flight
I asked.
attendant. And so I've gone to just about, and I was with United for 15 years. So
Oh
you can
wow.
imagine in 15 years, I've gone to every major city, in the United States. And then I was based in San Francisco and I was based in Los Angeles. So I would fly the Pacific routes. And so
Mm,
flying all the Pacific routes, Auckland, New Zealand, Sydney, Australia, Honolulu, Fiji, um,
mm,
Osaka, Japan, Hong Kong. So I've done all of those. So
beautiful.
it's kind of hard to really say a favorite. But if I had to say one, I probably would say San Francisco. San Francisco is absolutely beautiful. The bridges, the water, it's totally different than Northern California. Is totally different than Southern California because I've lived in both San Fran and LA. But San Francisco is just a really beautiful city. And then I would have to say Hong Kong, because I almost moved to Hong Kong. And so I like Hong Kong.
Oh, love it. I actually have a cousin who lives in San Francisco, and I definitely, it's on my bucket list to visit her. And actually, my daughter will, she has an internship at UC Berkeley,
Okay, yes.
which is about what, 15, 20 minutes.
Exactly, yes. Oh,
So,
wow, that's
yeah.
wonderful.
So, yeah. So, but thank you again, Alison. I really enjoyed having you on. You all make sure you follow Jackets for Jobs, follow Alison Vaughn. And again, happy Women's History Month to everyone. And again, thank you, Alison, for joining me tonight. And look forward to seeing you at the Smart and Sexy Day next Thursday.
Well, thank you. You're so beautiful inside
Thank
and
you.
out. And it's an honor to be on your show, Rocki. I've enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed our friendship. And thank you so much for, allowing me to be on and talk with you and kind of, let, others know a little bit more about me.
Absolutely. You're welcome. It was my pleasure as well. So thank you to everyone watching and listening. Rocki's Reality will be on break next week, but we will be back on the 21st with another icon from the Detroit community, Mama Shu. If you don't know who Mama Shu is,
that's a great
Google
one.
her.
She's wonderful.
I love it. So I'm really going to enjoy speaking to her and all the wonderful work she's done in the community. It's like we have so many people who are just doing the work in the community. So, and I salute all of you. So thank you everyone for watching Rocki's Reality, and we will see you on March 21st. Have a good night.
Good night.